It's all over.
Yeah.
And we're live. I was thinking about changing the title to something because throughout the playoffs, I've just kind of updated with what the game is. I was thinking about doing low caps, like season ends poorly as it always does. I think that was Game 7 last year.
That's what it was.
But, unfortunate, huh?
Not great,
Hey, chat.
Social media is the worst when things like this happen because they want to get mad at somebody.
I think that's why I didn't make it the title depressing, because I didn't want I already saw Raptors Twitter stands and the replies of everything
they'll listen to this. Those Celtics fans, welcome Celtics fans, welcome Raptors fans.
Happy to have you.
Welcome Heat fans. Welcome Mike.
Welcome Mike.
Fully lit Mike. Not in the way the kids say lit. But.
Did you make amends with your agent?
I did.
That's good.
I did.
What happened?
It's a little pod exclusive.
Oh,
from
that I don't know about.
Yeah.
Is that car at Mike's house?
Did you hear
CJ's
that?
House?
that was me. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not me.
CJ's warming up his hot rod in the back. The season's over, so
Philly's not handling this loss well.
Yeah. A couple minutes.
I wonder if Daryl's more upset about the loss or crypto.
The crypto thing must be killing him. All right, here we go. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS. Brought to you by Body Bio. Get 20% off any Body Bio order with promo code RTRS20 at bodybio.com. MortgageCS. Become a MortgageCS Ricky VIP by going to mortgagecs.com/Ricky. And our friends at Kinetic Skateboarding. Get 9.1% off your first order with promo code Dave Silver. On the show today, the Sixers season ends poorly once again, just like it always does. Before we get going, I did mention Kinetic Skateboarding. I'm going to go down. Hang on one second. If you're looking on YouTube, look at this one I got. This Kinetic hoodie. It's beautiful. Can you see it? Kind of see it. Really, my hoodie headquarters. But for you, it can be sneakers, can be hoodies, can be T-shirts, and as their name goes, skateboarding. If you need any skateboard stuff, Kinetic is your source. Spring is here. Light hoodies are wonderful. Great shorts, all that kind of stuff. Go to kineticskateboarding.com and use promo code Dave Silver for 9.1% off your first order. Without any further ado, Amos and the chef.
We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Welcome to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy who is in the light, but is only darkness on the inside. That is one Mike Levin.
It's just the window, so it'll get darker as the
podcast
goes on.
Great.
I mean, I'm just fucking embarrassed. I mean, just again and again with this fucking team, with this fucking franchise, with these fucking people. Everybody is to blame except for Joel Embiid, I would say, although he didn't play great, although his decision-making was bad. Daryl did a horrible job of assembling this team. He did a horrible job of it. And for them to need to count on Danny Green as much as they did, and for him to go, and now there's just like nobody else, and for Shake to play an incredible game, and then you're like, well, it would have been nice if they had found a way to unlock that secondary ball handling at any point, but that's Doc Rivers being one of the least creative coaches of all time. James Harden played one of the worst games of all time. I mean, this Harden game is just as embarrassing as the last few games of the Hawks series for Simmons. Just a total joke of a way to go. I mean, you go home, you win 2 games with Joel, you lay an absolute egg in Miami, and then you do the same exact thing here. I mean, it's just the franchise is dog shit. It's a dog shit franchise. For Daryl to not see all season long that this team is slow, this team is unathletic, this team is fucking soft, this team is a collection of horrible passers and uncreative passers, and to just get Harden at the deadline and not find a way to get somebody else, and not find a way to, like, honestly even like give Charlie Brown Jr. a roster spot because he has some juice in his legs, and the way that nobody else in this fucking team does. It's a joke. I mean, it's an embarrassing display. I think this is one of the worst. Like, they got Harden, Daryl put his head down and got Harden, and that was his only guy that he wanted from the beginning. Clearly that was a mistake. Tyrese Halliburton would have been a way better fit, probably both this season and definitely going forward. I mean, an embarrassing display of everything. We have Joel Embiid, who should have been the MVP this year, runner-up 2 straight years, and to not get to the conference finals in either of those years. Not all of this is Daryl. Some of it is the decisions that were made before he got here, and some horrible decisions before that, whether it was Elton or Colangelo, or letting Jimmy walk so that you can have a poorly fitting Ben Simmons that was never quite working because Jimmy didn't get along with Brett Brown, who you're going to fire a minute after. Like, just an embarrassing, like, decision after decision after decision after decision that was wrong and poorly thought out. And the only reason that they were remotely good this year is because Embiid took another step forward and Maxey took a massive leap forward. They didn't deserve it. They didn't deserve to be as good as they were. It was a total sham of a fucking season. And I mean, the biggest encapsulation of how little heart this team has, aside from Joel, who was playing like just, totally busted in so many different ways, was the Jimmy shot. And then Tobias and Harden watch the rebound like land next to them, and then Jimmy gets his own rebound and hits a 3 in the corner. Just like, while you're trying to come back with your season on the line, it's just like, just call it in. It's a fucking, what a disaster. What an absolute abomination, which we talked about last podcast. Another in a long line of abominations for everybody, and everybody should feel bad, and just disgusting stuff.
The only point that I disagreed on was, and we'll get to it, is the Morey point, just in general, which we've talked about before. But like, big picture here, when you get to this point, it's about the other players on the roster, but a lot of it is about the stars on the roster. James Harden stinks. Like, that guy couldn't give. At least Ben Simmons was going through some mental breakdown. James Harden does not give a shit. That guy does not care. He is not a winner. He is too slow. He doesn't have it anymore. And he came into this game wanting to go on vacation. He just did. Like that guy, half the time he was out on the court, I did not know he was out there. Like, you mentioned that rebound that he just stared at. That plays like that happened the entire time. He wasn't even involved in offense. Like, the one thing he's supposed to be good at, 90% of the game he wasn't involved in. You can't give him a contract. You can't. And we'll have a lot of offseason to talk about. Just let him go. Let him go. If he doesn't want to opt into next year, let him walk and find a way to get off of Tobias Harris's contract. So one thing, it comes down to him. He's not good enough. The other thing, and I agree with everything you said about Embiid. He had an MVP season. He was wonderful this year. This was not a good game for him, but he was obviously just fucking beat to shreds. But the guy has been healthy in 1 playoffs in his entire career. 1. And the only time he was healthy in the playoffs was when they had 4 months before it. That's the only time. his entire career. He's 28 years old. Like at some point, they either have to figure out a way to have him play less during the season, as much of a hit to his ego as it will be, or you cannot count on him to be healthy during the playoffs. It just, you can't go into every playoffs with your best player falling apart. And it's not the same as other teams where this guy's got a nagging this or this guy's got a nagging that. You can't have your best player going into every playoffs just fucking beat to shit one way or another. You can't do it. Can't do it. And so
I mean, the elbow, the Siakam play to the face is a freak injury. That's not something.
But he also had a torn thumb, and you can
no,
you
for
can,
sure. But he could have played all through that other stuff. It was the totality of it. He was pretty healthy for a while this season, and then it just.
But he's not now. When it matters now
right.
is when it matters.
I think the thumb is the thing that everybody would be playing through. Niang's got a bad knee. Matisse has I think they said an ankle or something.
But it's every year, Mike. It's
that's
every year.
I think that's everybody. No one's healthy in the playoffs. If without the thumb, he would have been fine, and he would have worked through it as fine.
But he did have the
having
thumb.
to wear a face mask and having a concussion and not being able to be in condition for a week because he sat in bed with the lights off. That was the bigger issue.
But it's every year. It's just like the idea of, first of all, like I don't want to argue about whether Joel Embiid's injuries are chronic or not, or whether it's his fault or not his fault. It's obviously like he doesn't want to get hurt. But I'm just saying, like, at this point, it's not like a coincidence when you get here and we're in this position again, and it has to be better managed somehow. But Harden, not it, and Embiid, we just have to find a way to get the guy into the playoffs healthy. I
think part of that is on Doc, who is just like,
yes,
one of the like least thoughtful people on the planet. It's just remarkable that, like, you can't say it enough how little they tried shit during the regular season and how much it came back to bite them now. Like, it is absolutely Daryl's fault that this team had so few playable players, while like there's 4 players on the bench that are just taking up space without a chance of playing in this game. We got to churn through those guys quicker if you don't think that they're going to be able to contribute, or find a way to get them G League playing time so that you trust them and actually use the G League. Like that is a front office into coaching staff like pipeline that has to work. And for the Sixers, it doesn't work remotely. That's just a joke. I mean, it's just really like this. It's disgusting how few playable players. As you turn and look at plenty of other teams that look at Memphis that have like 12 players that should be playing right now, maybe more. Miami obviously has those guys. Miami's a better team without Kyle Lowry right now because of how healthy they're young. Like,
but one thing,
it's just disgusting. Like, they couldn't count on fucking anybody because of how Doc just was like, I don't know, trying to stack regular season wins. Was that the whole goal of his career? So we could then get to the regular season win list. It doesn't fucking matter. And it's just like a remarkable failure on every level to not plan for anything like this.
One of those things that those teams have is a consistent front office and a front office that hired the coach. Do you know what I mean? Like, there is, I don't know how much.
Fire him.
Yes,
fire him tonight.
Absolutely. They should have. All year, he shouldn't be here. He shouldn't be here. If you're gonna have Daryl Morey as the general manager of the team, and like everything's got to be on the same page. He's obviously not on the same page. He was obviously terrible. Obviously terrible. But I just think it at the end. And I agree with that. Like, you look at Max Strus, the guy wasn't drafted. Duncan Robinson, who wasn't even fucking playing, who probably would have played 35 minutes a game on the Sixers, wasn't drafted. Gabe Vincent, and who's the other guy that always kills us that didn't even play? The other bench guy that the Heat have. What's that? Yeah, Martin. Yeah, didn't even play. So I agree that the roster's not good enough. I just think that the big question about Harden, I can't believe we traded for that guy and we watched him do what he just did in the playoffs. He had one good playoff game.
Yeah, I mean, like he helped this team in the sense that the team had so few even below average passers, even like 4 out of 10 passers in this team. There were so few of them that the fact that he is genuinely still one of the best passers in the league made a big leap, but he's not going to like carry you with that. And he didn't. And they are capable of getting better passers and having schemes that encourage and prop up better passers if there was a smarter coaching staff in place here, and there's not. It was torture to watch this team. It was absolute torture to watch this team for a long time. It's fun to watch Maxey play and him to turn the corner and go fast. Honestly, it seems like the coaching staff was, Doc maybe was more of a negative on him as he's standing there just like trying to throw an entry pass as everyone stands there. Like maybe this is Embiid, maybe this is coaching staff, maybe it's just whatever, but like how often on Embiid post-ups is everyone just fucking standing there? Everyone just fucking standing around. And then they couldn't even get the ball to him. And then they're standing around. And it's just like the least creative stuff in the world. And the fact that Doc is like, we don't practice. And it's like, cool, that's a fun thing. It's like, I didn't study for this test. Cool, man. We would like you to. We would have liked you to study for the test. It's just like, I know that the cut-ins to the huddle aren't giving the full picture of what they're saying, but like him just being like, come on, and like no one listening or paying attention is like exactly what this team is. Like he has nothing. He's got nothing. He's got a couple decent after timeout plays as a staff, but like no adjustments game to game, no adjustments in game, like just not many big ideas. And you're going against a team that is known for like cutting shit off that you want to do. And as the series went on, the Sixers just looked so hopeless with nothing. And Doc just keeps going there being like, pace. And it's like, he's honestly like a little league coach. He's like a little league coach out there, just yelling to like do something. And it's disgusting. It's really embarrassing that to waste Joel Embiid's prime the way they have is awful. It's I'm just fucking nauseous. These assholes, man. These losers. Fuck, dude. These fucking crypto losers, these NFT losers, like spend time, do shit. Like, look, have a backbone, anything, play hard. And like some guys did, and some guys just aren't capable, and some guys just have the limited amount of ability. There's so many one-way players or no-way players in some instances. But man, what a collection of absolute like gutless losers are on this team. Not everybody, of course, but like as a unit, like Harden was the one who really didn't show the fuck up tonight at all. But a lot of people didn't, and it was pathetic. Like Harden he was 0 for 1 with a missed 3 and 2 turnovers in the third quarter. And then immediately in the fourth quarter where they're like, okay, now's the time to make a run. Is there a possibility that they can get back in this game? 2 of the most embarrassing turnovers you've ever seen in his life. He's got no handle, and he still thinks has a great handle. He doesn't pay attention off ball. He gets out rebounded by anybody nearby him. He just turns the ball over. Really, really disgusting. He weirdly hit some threes tonight, and that maybe like saved it from looking like the worst game of all time. But like as a totality, when he needed him, 43 minutes to be this bad, when Embiid's as down as he is and playing as hard, it's awful. And Embiid, like God forbid, like look, Embiid played a ton of minutes. He shouldn't have played that many minutes. He was clearly spent so quick, and Doc is so visionless that he's running Embiid into the ground as he goes 7 of 24 from the field. Is our best chance of winning this game because I have nothing with any bench guys. Like Paul Reed is a hustle player and long and who tries in a game when they were getting out hustled and out tried every step of the way, and to not find a way to put him in for a little bit, especially when Danny's out, it's just like a fundamental misunderstanding of like Doc this is his whole ethos as a coach is like the definition of insanity, just trying the same thing again and again and being like, it should work. Well, it doesn't, dude. And you're not a good coach because of how little you ever just decide, like make a decision. His decisions are just like, just keep going, go have at it. And it's just awful. It's really bad. It's malpractice to play Embiid that many minutes when he looked that tired, to never get him a break, to not try to match B-Ball Paul's minutes with Dwayne Dedman's, just like to give him anything. And there was just nothing. There was nothing at all.
I wanted to say something. Poor spots. We have 2 sponsors for this pod, Body Bio and MortgageCS. God bless you guys. I'm going to do my best. Body Bio is a supplement company. They're a supplement company that cares about two things: your head and your gut. Because if those things are healthy, the rest of your body will be healthy. And if you don't watch this fucking team, that would be the third thing. They should send in like a fucking brochure to not watch the team anymore. A gut supplement that you should take that Body Bio makes is called Butyrate. By the way, Body Bio, family-owned company, small, but that's good, efficient, know what they're doing, can change on a dime because that's what science does. So a gut supplement, Butyrate, which is a postbiotic that your body already makes, but doesn't make enough of it. What you eat, it doesn't make enough butyrate. So what you need to do is take this supplement. You take a couple pills after you eat, and it cuts down on bloat. It makes you feel better. It makes you look better. It makes you regular. And all you got to do is take 2 pills after you eat. Go to bodybio.com and use promo code RTRS20. You get 20% off, not just on butyrate, a postbiotic, get the sodium butyrate, not just on butyrate, but on anything that we've talked about: Elite, Calm, liposomal vitamin C. I still take Elite, keeps me from cramping up in my feet, keeps me hydrated. Once again, the only gut supplement you need is butyrate. Butyrate. Once again, go to bodybio.com, use code RTRS20, 20% off everything. You mentioned Embiid's prime. I think sometimes we talk a lot about wasting his prime, but for me at least, when we're watching every game, I get lost in it. I lose perspective. And there was one time during the game tonight where he was at the free throw line, and the graphic in front of him said Joel Embiid finished second in MVP voting the second consecutive year. And because he hasn't won, I think I haven't thought about the fact that he was runner-up MVP 2 consecutive years is on the Sixers. Like, that's fucking crazy. And he really is. I don't know if you caught it. I don't know if you and Dave and Tanner talked about it because it happened while you were podcasting. But he said after the game, he mentioned when I retire in a few years. Did you see that quote? It was after the game. He said something about retiring in a few years. I think he was talking about the MVP and like, this guy is not going to be around forever, and he's certainly not going to be one of those guys that plays until he's 36 years old. He just isn't. There's no way this guy wants everything that his body has been through, even up until now, is going to have a lasting effect on the rest of his life. And you can just tell he loves playing, he loves all this, but there's just no way he's going to put his body through this, like through his 30s. Not only wasting his prime, like wasting his entire career. And you have to wonder at a certain point, and this is an enormous offseason, just an enormous offseason because, and I feel like we've said this for the last 3 years, but it feels like the offseason. And I give Morey, now if he signs James Harden to a max deal, I don't give him this pass. But the things that you are skewering him for, the other players on the roster, I just think he had he was handcuffed coming into this situation. I think the Simmons situation handcuffed him this year. I just think he was stuck. That said, like, he cannot fuck up this offseason. He cannot give James Harden a contract. Because what will happen is if next year doesn't go right, Embiid, if he does play for 3 more years, is just going to want to go play somewhere else. Like, he's under contract till he's 33, but he's not going to play here till he's 33. He's just going to want to go somewhere else. And for a franchise that has reveled in embarrassing situations for the last 6 or 7 or 8 years, that will be the most embarrassing situation. Like, the process himself, asking to go to another team because you failed to get at least one competent star next to him, would be just the ultimate in embarrassing situations. Because he's certainly not going to rot away here. He's certainly not going to like watch his body fall apart in this situation. Absolutely not. So it just hit me when I saw it.
I don't know. I disagree. I think he loves it here and he loves the city and he feels like he's as stubborn as we are as far as like, I'm going to fucking, if we had any sense, we would fucking stop watching this goddamn team. And I think he just like wants to be the guy. He is the guy.
We're just watching.
He knows how good Maxey is. And I think he goes to ownership or to Daryl or whatever, and like demands something and uses what leverage he has, but I don't think he's like looking for a way out.
That's not what I said,
I just
though.
don't think that.
I didn't say he was looking for a way out. But I did say that like this wears on you. Like he's a human being, and I know you say we watch it, but we can stop watching whenever we want, and it doesn't hurt us physically. And you'll wake up tomorrow morning and
hurts me physically. It certainly does.
Life goes on. His body. Can you imagine what he physically feels like right now? And to watch like James Harden fucking stand there while this guy's face is broken and his thumb is ripped and he's landing on his back and he's fucking like, I don't know, man. If he's going to play, they just got to get it right, because I'm telling you, I don't think he's going to sit here and deal with this,
I mean, we'll have plenty of time to talk about the offseason. They have limited assets after, some trades. They have Danny's contract, and Danny looks like he probably might have blew his knee.
Oh yeah, god damn. I'm sorry we haven't even mentioned that. Like, we should send out.
It sucks for him, man.
Yeah,
it sucks.
Prayers for Danny. I mean that looked horrible. And
a lot of decisions to make. Got to replace like at least half the team. Like, it's just not good enough. There's just not a good enough roster. Matisse came in for Danny and looked good for a little bit and started playing well, and then blew a layup and was pointless and never found the court again, really. Niang somehow, against all fucking odds, was a plus 11 in this game. The guy has done jack shit in this series, and I think finished with the best plus minus in every single game, which is stunning and weird. So I don't know if there's anything to that, or it's just the randomness of a series. Korkmaz and Niang shared the court at the same time in this game, and neither of them hit a three tonight. And they were, they played 23 minutes, were bad on defense, and couldn't hit threes. I thought Tobias reverted back to his old self in the last couple of games. Wasn't making as many quick decisions, wasn't fighting for rebounds, wasn't getting a single loose ball. Max Strus was cooking him. Strus would be the best two-way player on this team. That is a depressing thought. Tobias really just wasn't using his length whatsoever to get a deflection or knock a ball away or anything. He played better in the second half for sure, but in the first half he just looked like he was running around like an armless torso.
Well, and by the way, he played better when the game was fucking dead. Like, that's when he played better. He played better when the game was over.
I mean, you could still, if it's a 16-point game with 8 minutes left in the fourth, the game is still relatively up in the air. He did play better in the second half. Yeah, if I wouldn't be confident. I mean, the Sixers have lost plenty of games with up 16 with 8 minutes left in the game. It's a tough thing to put this on Maxey, but he has to get better. He has to keep getting better. Got to be stronger with the ball. Got to make better decisions. Got to improve so much as a passer. I find it confusing that so much of the game was them swinging the ball on the perimeter slowly and not trying to weaponize Maxey's speed and run decent pick and rolls. It seems like we just so many plays ended in just a frantic step back for whether it was Harden or Maxey or Embiid. Just bad offense, just a bad passing team. Yeah, I mean, it was a great season for Maxey. I'm thrilled that he's here, and I want to be here for a long time. But he's just got to get better. He's got to improve a lot, because when you're a small guard like that, you just have to be really, really good to stick on the court. And hopefully, he takes the offseason, gets stronger, works on his handle, works on his hesitation, works on his defense, and works on his passing, and just vision and seeing the court and stuff. Because they're going to need him, whether or not Harden's here. They're going to need him to be as good as a shooter and better as a distributor, running an offense and everything.
You sped past the Danny thing. I want to just real quickly, that guy, we make jokes about Danny Green a lot, and he does a lot of things to make jokes about. I got an email today that somebody said the reason I like Danny Green is that he's the basketball version of me, and that he has haircuts for younger people trying to look cool, and he says things that make people mad on podcasts. That guy has been like a rock for the Sixers in the time that he's been here. And I know people don't remember it, but when they were COVID down to 7 players or whatever, the guy was playing 50 minutes a game. He was really, aside from Embiid, their only real two-way player on the team. And you don't want him to be that important. But that guy was, and he made a lot of goofy plays. But that guy has had a fantastic career, is a winning player, was a winning player for the Sixers. And as soon as he went down tonight, you knew they couldn't win because the shots that he hit were big. And that knee injury looked fucking terrible. And you hate for that to happen to anybody, but somebody who's at the end of his career, it sucks for it to happen there because you don't want his career to end that way. And his knee looked terrible. So just want to
really sad for him.
Send love to Danny because Danny's been a good player for them and busted his ass, and it sucks to see his season end that way.
They're just so soft as a team, and their skills are so softly developed. And they're like Danny, who I loved and was very helpful in this team, could not dribble, and could not do anything in the mid range, and could not do anything else. And so it was all of these guys who just they're so limited in so many ways around Embiid and at times Harden, who are just expected to do everything else and clean up for everything else. And it is a real black eye on the organization and Daryl's front office and Doc's development that they could not get more dynamic role players on this team.
Mike, how is Daryl Morey going to get more dynamic role players on the team when he couldn't make any moves? He couldn't.
You got to figure it out. It's just like what MOC said.
No,
you have to figure it out. You have to find diamonds in the rough.
But how? You can't trade picks. You can't how?
You can trade picks. You can trade.
But they couldn't.
They could have done it. They could have traded Seth Curry earlier. They could have done anything. They were limited. This roster was limited in so many ways, and it is the GM's.
But they needed Seth Curry. What you're forgetting is when Seth Curry was
creative ways out of it, and he didn't. He made the Harden trade, and it didn't work out, and that was it.
He got here, Mike. He got here. Josh Richardson was on the roster. Al Horford was on the roster. Al Horford was on the roster with $100 million. 2 trades very quickly.
2 trades. I count them as 1 trade.
With $100 million, and we forget about Seth Curry. Seth Curry was like, while he was here, was the most effective perimeter offensive player they had.
Yeah, and for the most part, helpless in the playoffs.
But
that's what they determined is we're gonna have to. We're gonna get guys who are limited in so many other areas.
How is he going to trade
They just
somebody?
didn't do a good enough job. They didn't do a good enough job. I'm not saying the job wasn't hard. I'm not saying it was easy to do. But
it's not over.
That's the job.
It's when he got here. He was, and trust me, I'm just waiting. I thought he made a joke out of the backup center situation. He shouldn't have done that. That was fucking stupid. And if he gives James Harden this contract, and he should have had more information on James Harden as well. Making this trade, he should have known what James Harden was made of. If anybody knows, he should know. All that said, you're talking about when you compare him to teams like Milwaukee or Miami or Boston or any of these teams that they are competing with right now, those teams had the same front office for years, and a coach, and in the case of Boston, a different general manager now, but that general manager was the coach before. You can't get here in 2 years, have your second best player who's on a max contract decide he's not going to play for you anymore, have your other max contract be Tobias fucking Harris, and have every extra asset that you've had traded away. Oh, and by the way, a coach that you didn't even hire, and you got here in the pandemic offseason. It's just...
I'm not saying it was easy. I'm saying he didn't do a good enough job. He just didn't. But Phoenix got there quickly last season.
No, they didn't.
That was quickly. James Jones was like his second year there.
Yeah, but they were bad.
When the Lakers won in the bubble, that was Rob Pelinka's first year. It happens. And Daryl, if he's one of the best GMs in the league, he has to do a better job. He didn't do a good enough job. He has to find a way to get playable role players that can compete. And the guys he decided to sign, Niang, who was fine but not helpful enough, re-signing.
Who, by the way, all season you suggested was good enough to play defense in the playoffs.
I thought he was, but I think he's better than Korkmaz. I think he was better than Matisse and at least more dynamic offensively than Danny. Like there's you can have that's the thing is like I've been saying all year, and what I struggle with is I like a lot of these guys individually, but as a whole, they are all so limited together and their skills overlap and they're just missing a level of toughness, a level of athleticism, passing, just dynamic play that they just don't have. And if you had one or two of those guys, great. Alongside a PJ Tucker as an example of a guy that does, but just like they didn't have enough helpful guys. They had too many guys who were slow and liabilities and really just like didn't compete, just like did not compete. It was really nice to see Shake have a nice game. That was like the one saving grace of this game.
Yeah.
And he got hot and it was very weird. And as soon as he got hot, I was like, I think he had 7 points in the third and then maybe 7 or 6 or 7 in the fourth. And I was like, maybe this is the comeback, and obviously it was against it. But I'm like, if Shake is doing this is bad. I mean, it's just not. You're not feeling good about what's happening here. But I am happy for him.
When he
had a tough season of injuries and stuff.
When he started doing it, I was like, is this going to be like that Houston comeback when Harden and Josh Smith were? Or no, Josh Smith was on the court when Harden was on the bench. Like it would Shake. Is it really going to be Shake? Let me talk about MortgageCS, and then we'll be done with sponsors for the pod because I don't want to. You'll start again. MortgageCS is they do a better job than I think the Sixers have done. They do a better job in managing, I guess. Anyway, MortgageCS, CS stands for concierge service. MortgageCS is your partner in getting a mortgage, which, interest rates are going up. You need to know more. Housing market, there's fewer houses out there. So the mortgage is going to be important. A lot of what you pay is the mortgage. They are a mortgage broker, not a lender. So what they do is they work for you. They go and they find you the best rate. But even more importantly, MortgageCS is small and managed. They have a staff of less than 10 people. And their goal is for when you walk away, for you to know more about mortgages than when you came in. So even if you decide to go with someone else, if you know more about what you're doing when you go to get a mortgage, they are happy that happened. And they're truly like that. Their CEO is Ben, and Ben is reachable via text at any time, via call at any time. He has a cell right now. Call him. I dare you to text Ben right now about the Sixers and see if he answers. 267-391-7425. 267-391-7425. And the reason it's important that you can get to your mortgage broker at any time is because you may need a pre-qualification letter at 9 o'clock at night. You may need one on a Saturday. You may need a question answered at 6 in the morning. And they are on call for you. Whether you're buying a new home, whether you're debt consolidation, whether you're refinancing, whatever it is not just about having the best rate. It's about having a partner, and MortgageCS is going to be your partner. Go to mortgagecs.com/Ricky. That's where you sign up to be a Ricky VIP, meaning you set up whether it's a Zoom call or in person to discuss your mortgage, and look at the site they built for us. Just look at the art is amazing. The cartoons, mortgagecs.com/Ricky, or call or text their CEO, Ben, at 267-391-7425. Look at all their great Google reviews, more than 200 5-star reviews, and everyone who has gone there who has been a Ricky recommendation has been absolutely fucking thrilled. Again, mortgagecs.com/Ricky, or call or text their CEO, Ben, at 267-391-7425. This ad is not a commitment to lend or extend credit. MortgageCS is an equal housing opportunity mortgage broker and arranges loans with third-party providers. It does not provide mortgage loan commitments or fund any mortgage loans. All loans are subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions apply. The information is presented for informational purposes by Rates for Us, LLC. DBA MortgageCS, company NMLS 1464766, licensed by the PA Department of Banking and NJ Department of Banking and Insurance. Visit mortgagecs.com for more information. Ben Stucker, NMLS ID number 168345. Okay. So what now? Like, what do you think? What would you do with Harden? He doesn't opt in. He wants a max contract.
I don't know. I'm like too pissed off to really we have such a long offseason ahead of us to like really
once again
think too hard about it. And everything I'm thinking right now is emotional, and I want to.
That's fair.
Like I muttered I yelled it. No one was around, but I said if I ever run into Dave Pasch, I'll fucking kill him. just because I think he's a total piece of shit, smug motherfucker. And I just hate the way he talks. Also, Hubie Brown, look, nothing against Hubie Brown aside from the fact he's the oldest person on the planet. Hubie Brown is 10 years older than Charlie Emanuel.
Come on.
Who rang the
You
bell
don't need to
tonight.
skewer Hubie Brown for being old.
Just get him out. Let him go away. Let him live on a fucking horse ranch and just sit there and imagine all the basketball he saw in the 50s. Like, God, just get out of there. Please, for your own goddamn good. People need to retire. I'm going to retire as soon as I fucking can. Jesus Christ. Charlie Emanuel's the man, and as soon as he came out, I was like, too good of a bell ringer. They're going to lose.
They couldn't get him a triple X maxi jersey. They had to give him the single X.
I'm certain that was his own jersey. 100% positive he wore it.
Really?
Yeah, he's talked about. I've seen tweets from Charlie or about Charlie that he loves Maxi. That's his jersey, 100%. It's just a really bad game. The team, everybody who listens to podcasts for more than 5 seconds knows
Hubie a break.
how. Yeah, fuck Hubie.
You gotta give Hubie
retire. Someone
It's not
allow
his
Hubie
fault.
Brown to retire. Hubie Brown and Dianne Feinstein fucking retire. Get out of there. I can get on board with this team because I'm a sucker and I love Joel and I love Maxi and I want to believe all the time. And I like a lot of these role players individually. But for the bulk of the season, it's just like there is something fundamentally wrong with this franchise right now. And there needs to be more of a holistic look at the kind of team that they are, the team identity, which they never had this year. There's no bread and butter. Even the Harden and Embiid pick and rolls, which started good, it just felt like they didn't really want to do it. Neither guy felt great about it. Doc didn't want to run them that much. It's just like there's not a consistent look and feel to this team. My friend texted me the Celtics Bucks series. It's like both of these, and I've thought this for years about several different things where you watch it and he was like, both of these teams look better than the Sixers. And it's just because for whatever reason, the Sixers and then teams that the Sixers play against, it just looks like mud. Everything so often looks like absolute mud. The games just grind down into nothing. And it feels like for the Sixers who aren't a physical team to play such like sludgy basketball all the time, it's a blight on things. So I just think there needs to be, I think Doc should be fired. I don't have like a great replacement.
Pick someone we're not even thinking of. You know what I mean? Like, I guess I would just love to see a hotshot assistant guy or something. You know,
who knows if
Hubie Brown.
Hubie Brown, I think he has it. He's got a bunch of new ideas. I think if Harden opts in for a 1-year thing, then fine. But I certainly wouldn't give him anything close to the max at this age, with how poorly he takes care of his body, with his effort level as low as it has been the last few years. It's easy to look back at like the early part of his Brooklyn tenure and go like, what if he's that guy all the time? But like, I just don't believe it that he's capable of like really getting in the kind of shape that it would require to be good deeper into his career.
No.
So I don't have the answers. I don't have like here's the roadmap, and if Daryl doesn't do it, he's a fucking moron. But like Daryl has to. Like he has to find it, because the task and his responsibility is making one of the best big men of all time into a guy who's gotten to the conference fucking finals. And the Sixers haven't. Embiid hasn't. The Sixers have not gotten past the second round of the playoffs since 2001. And that I could line up everybody who's responsible for that and punch them in the fucking face. And I want to. Because so many awful mistakes were made. But all we have is looking forward, and there's a lot, 7 or 8 at least players on this roster this season should not be here next season. We need fresh blood. We need excitement. We need guys who are willing to play their asses off, willing to defend, getting a loose ball, stop giving up offensive fucking rebounds all the time, every single one. There's got to be a way to do it where you're also not playing 2020 Sixers ball with like 6 guys in the paint and everybody's just like bumping into each other offensively. Like you have to find a way to make both Daryl as a GM and Doc as a coach has to find a way to find guys who are physical and play their asses off and who also can spread the floor and give Embiid some space. And then those guys need to cut and Embiid needs to become a better passer and find those guys. And he has. Embiid's gotten better as a passer, and some guys just missed shots tonight, including Matisse, Jesus Christ, and Niang, Jesus Christ. That was Niang's only shot attempt of the night, which is wild.
Matisse Thybulle stinks. I
lot of
want
these guys
to
do.
be on record.
I think he's going to go
Matisse
somewhere else that's a better passing team and in a better system and play better, and I'm going to be annoyed about it. But
I've never seen that guy get through a screen. He dies on every screen. He doesn't go around it. He doesn't slide above it. He doesn't there's nothing. Dies on
he
every
just goes
screen.
over it and then comes from behind and contests the shot from behind. That's usually what he does. And sometimes he gets it and a lot of times he doesn't. I mean, like Hero wasn't even like that good tonight. He was not they needed him to be. He was 5 of 12 for 10 points with no free throws. I mean, the Sixers tonight, like an example of how untough they are. It was like, oh man, Embiid and Harden are against the line so many fucking times. Harden didn't take a foul shot tonight. Embiid took 4.
Harden didn't take any foul shots tonight?
Harden took 0, Embiid took 4. As a team, they took 7 combined. It was a phone it in level of effort from so many guys, and as a team, they just like absolutely backed off in a number of ways, just like folded. It's an abomination. There's another abomination. I collect abominations
quit the pod
on my fucking trophy shelf, and it was like we should hang banners for abominations. I'm sure we can remember a ton of them. The Sixers haven't been in the conference finals since 2001, but they lead the league in abominations.
I can't watch Harden, man. I can't do it. I can't. I've had a little Black Label bourbon, and I just don't think I can watch that guy for a whole season and cheer for him. I think he sucks. I think he sucks. He sucks as like there's too many instances of him not coming up big. How does he play a game like he played tonight? How do you play a game like that? It's not, it's funny. There's a Twitter guy who's comparing him to John Starks. Because, Starks had the bad game against the Rockets. But, like, at least John Starks was present. Like, how is James Harden just fucking not there?
John Starks is your Bobby Abreu.
But Bobby Abreu didn't care. John Starks is a carer.
No, Bobby Abreu just glided, and he was very good, and people thought that he didn't care because he ran cool.
He didn't care.
He's awesome.
I don't think you actually like Bobby Abreu.
I love Bobby Abreu.
I think you like the idea of Bobby Abreu.
Bobby Abreu would get rotation minutes on the Sixers. Right now.
In any case.
47-year-old Bobby Abreu should be on the Sixers.
In any case, if by the way, Mike, Twitter, I think he's the guy that invented the phrase ratio at 85 MF was the one who said the Starks thing. It would have been one thing if Harden came in and just missed shot after shot after shot after shot. Dude, him not getting to the free throw line is disgusting. How is that
They just
possible?
played on their heels. The whole team just played on their heels all night. And it was like Miami went to a zone. The Sixers had few people that they could send to the middle. Niang is honestly the best one because he at least has a jump shot sometimes, or did before this series, and can pass. Whereas Tobias kind of can't pass. And they just never got to the middle of the zone with any regularity. They just let Miami's length and tenacity and anticipation totally rattle them. And Doc, game after game after game, the end of game 4, which was closer than it should have been, into game 5 and game 6, there were no adjustments made. They didn't change a single fucking thing. They didn't think about anything. They weren't scheming against it. It was just like, their Heat are taking this away, and we should just hold the ball, run out the shot clock, get slowed down, lose any energy or momentum, and the Heat will just push off a miss and get wide open transition opportunities. Really awful. Really, really bad. And I'm sure we're not looking at the post-game stuff, but I'm sure Doc's quotes are just absolutely infuriating.
There's one, CJ put it in the chat. I came to the conclusion at the end of this game that we are not good enough to beat Miami.
Yeah.
What made you think that? Was
That's
it the
smart.
loss to Miami?
There was and there was nothing that I could have done. I was just sort of watching the games. At a certain point, I bought a ticket and then sat courtside and enjoyed my beverage. Doc decided not to coach anymore. Just it's a disappointment. Embiid has played so good the past 2 years, and for them to, obviously this season was marred from the beginning with the Simmons stuff, and that handicapped them a lot, and that should be factored in to how difficult it was. But a lot of teams deal with shit and find a way to get better players and empower those players and find a system and make it
Miami,
work.
by the way, lost Kyle Lowry. And they just threw a fucking guy in there who it didn't seem like they missed
they
a
gave
beat.
shots to.
Yeah.
And trusted in big moments. I don't know. I look at this team right now and I think Maxey and Embiid should definitely be here next year. I would say I'm fine with Niang being here for another year. His contract runs out after next season. B-Ball Paul and I would give Bassie and B-Ball Paul a shot at the backup center minutes and play them all. Anybody else? Shake maybe. I do have hope for Shake as a good bench guard with secondary ball handling and when he's healthy and stuff. But he's gonna have to get paid at some point soon.
Shake is going to have to get paid?
Yeah, somebody will give him a decent amount of money. I think somebody will give him like
$3 million? Like what do you?
like six. I think like six.
No. Well, this is our FERC bet for the year. This is our $12 million FERC bet. Was it 12?
Well, the people that didn't give $12 million to FERC were
we
right.
give $6 million to
correct.
Shake.
Those guys were right. I thought somebody would have done it, but those guys were right.
Well, before we go, I want two sets of thank yous. One, this was our 9th season as a podcast. So I want a thank you to the people who listen. It really is amazing. Like, we have people who were in like middle school and are now graduating college or whatever who have listened to the Ricky the entire time. And it means a lot that you hung out with us this entire time and you keep hanging, even through the good podcast, the bad podcast, the weird ones, making you mad, the team being shitty. So a wholehearted thank you to everyone who has stuck with us. So thank you for listening. I actually have 3. So the second thing is we actually have, that Maury was amazed by, we have a staff at the Ricky, which is absolutely completely ridiculous for a podcast to have a staff of people. So CJ, who is our producer, started off as our video producer, now produces everything. Thank you, CJ.
CJ should be a role player for the Sixers. Would have more energy.
100%.
More length.
100%. One day we'll meet CJ in person.
No,
I owe CJ a nice dinner. That's what I owe CJ. I promise you that's CJ. The people who write for us. So that is Sixers Adam, we actually have a beat reporter who's at every home game, which is fucking crazy. Mike O'Connor and AU, who I believe has more of the heart of this podcast than either Mike or I. Truly a joy. And Alonzo Jones, who writes the newsletter. So thank you, Zoe. And then Abby, who does all of the drawings all year long. She does 2 drawings a week and anything we need, and is absolutely excellent and makes the website look different. And I love and appreciate you. And the same for Tanner, who does our t-shirts. So thank you to everybody. And then finally, the fact that we have
occasionally and Zainab pinch hitting sometimes.
Right. Zainab, who does AU's art occasionally as well. So thank you, Zainab, who did, and we got to do one more live show in the fall. So, and then our sponsors, the ones who have been with us forever, and then the new ones who have just come on, genuinely proud to be associated with all of you. Your belief in us is amazing. And the way that you treat our listeners has always been amazing. So thank you. So DraftKings, our presenting sponsor, LL, our first sponsor, LL Pavorsky, and Big Barker, Dog Beds, Woof, Body Bio, Briggs Auction, Kinetic Skateboarding, Kornblau and Kornblau, Adam Kasabi, MortgageCS, and Stateside Vodka. So thank you to all of them. It's wild that we have so many great sponsors. So thank you.
And the
So
charities.
I can't. What's that?
And the charities.
Oh yes, Providence Animal Center, quoted by kids. Absolutely. Thank you. I'm going to the Providence Animal Center Gimme Shelter Gala tomorrow night. So, so they, thank you for all you do. Anything
Every
else?
person that you just named has more heart than the Sixers team. I'm just disgusted, man. Disgusted.
I know.
Really am. What a waste of time. So much time.
Yeah.
Happy that we don't have to do it anymore the rest of the season. No more post game podcasts.
Yes. I'm a little bit happy there.
Really
on that one.
just look, for whatever insane bullshit, ludicrous, I blame my parents reason that I give a shit about this fucking team, I do. They mean a lot to me. Joel, as a person, Joel, I love him. I would die for him. And a lot of these other guys, some of them as well. But I just really, for whatever reason, and it's not a good one, I've invested a lot of my life and happiness in whether or not these fucking Sixers eventually have some level of high-level success. And they've been good since the process ended. They've made the playoffs every year since. They have won some rounds, but it hasn't been enough, and it needs to be better. We cannot have put as much time and effort and emotional equity into this goddamn team, this franchise, this organization, with fuckfaces owning it and dickheads coaching it, and to come up empty. They have to get better. They have to build a championship contender around Joel Embiid.
Fuck
One that
faces and
actually wins
dickheads.
rounds. And that is, I have almost no role in that. The role that we have is occasionally yelling loud enough for someone to hear, and maybe they drafted Luau because we told them to. But
And Cork.
I'm invested in the success, and I just need it to work out. We need it to work out because we're all fucking here. We're all pissed off. We're all emotionally on the hook to these assholes, and these assholes have to deliver soon, or there will be
blood.
punishment in the form of me getting more upset. And if that's not a big enough threat, then I don't know what it is. God
Four
damn,
words for you.
What a fucking shit show. Motherfucker.
4 words for you. Head coach Evan Turner.
No thanks.
Oh, man. Fuck, man. The second round is just always the fucking second round. By the way, like, the Sixers that we blew up just got to the second round. Like, that's the best that happened. And to be honest with you, I mean, it wasn't the Raptors series, but that Iguodala brand team getting to the 7th game with Boston, that was a fucking epic 7th game too.
No, that was a joke. That team was fake. That was bullshit. It didn't even happen.
Got to the 7th
Barely even
game.
counted.
Got to
Barely
the 7th.
Wasn't
got to
real.
the 7th game. All right. Well, we'll take a couple of days to breathe, and then we'll be back talking about this bullshit again. If you have any off-season ideas, please let us know. It's going to be another fucked up off season once again.
What a
all right.
town.
Please don't sign. I can't do a season in James Harden. I can't sign and trade somewhere. All right. We'll talk to you soon. We love you. We love you. I love you. Are you done with TTP?
Yeah, you know, like face.